Welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on Mix It Up Monday. This is a monthly hop that I host here on my channel and on my Facebook community group each month. This is a hop where we take a sketch and we mix it up with mixed media. So you can use rub-on, stamps, stenciling, texture paste. You can tear paper. You can do whatever your little heart desires. And this month we are using the 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life sketch. That sketch was created by Cindy Brown. I will post that up here for you in the corner so that you can get a good look at this really fun sketch. I am going to be turning that sketch around on its side, and I'm going to be doing something else with it. So let's see what I come up with. I am going to be using Katie Petit's new collection that she put out with the new company Arden Creative Studio. This is Hidden Creek. I have chosen one of the double-sided pattern papers from this 8x8 paper pad and one of the sheets of paper from the 12x12 paper pad. Obviously, this has already got some pre-made mixed media on here, so I'm going to be playing very lightly with some more and additional mixed media here. I haven't decided where I'm going to go with it yet, but I have some of the tape here, which is kind of fun. Look at that against that paper. It is so pretty and interesting. I've never played with anything like this before, so it's going to be kind of cool. I've got some rub-ons. I have the laser die cuts. Did you guys know that these are double-sided, which is super cool? I know that the plastic is loud, so I'm going to open it real quick so that we can kind of get a good look at these double-sided laser die cuts in this collection. So there are 78 laser die cut pieces, and as I said, they are double-sided. Look at that. That is awesome. So if you need this leaf to go the other direction, you can easily do that, which I find super cool. So I have those. There's also a pack of ephemera, some decoupage paper, which I'm probably not going to use in this layout, and some enamel dots. I'm going to pause. We're going to get started, and I will be right back. All right, so what I have decided to do is to take this Vicki Boutin stencil. It is one of her Christmas stencils, but it is a pine tree, and I'm using pine needle distress oxide to put the stenciling kind of in the middle of this 12x12 piece of paper. So this color may not look great against the background right now, but I do want you to note that there are definitely shades of this color in the actual collection, and as I put my layout together, it will come together, I promise. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get all of the stenciling in. I'm gonna move it down. Like I said, I'm not really in the dead center of this layout, which is fine. It works out just fine in the end. I'm just a little bit over to the left. I have already ruined one sheet of the Hidden Creek pattern paper. There are two of each in the paper pad, and I tried to use some texture paste with a stencil that I had never used before, and I did not like the stenciling or the way that the texture paste came out. It was just not a great stencil for texture paste in my opinion, so I went ahead and I set it aside. I didn't throw the paper away because I can still use the back side, or I can cut it down and use this side of it if I want to. So the next thing I did was I sprayed some water on the stenciling, and then I went ahead and used my paper towel roll to dab it off, and then I set it aside and I allowed it to dry. I actually allowed it to dry overnight, and I flipped it upside down because I wanted to make sure that it dried flat, because this paper is not the beautiful thickness that we are accustomed to from 49 and Market and Katie Petit's collections. This paper feels a little bit more like the paper weight of what you would get from American Crafts. a little disappointed with that, but the collection is gorgeous. This layout comes together very well. So overnight, like I said, I let this dry and I kind of percolated ideas, I guess, while I was sleeping, because I woke up with a whole different way of doing this layout, which included me bringing in some of this corrugated paper. Now this corrugated paper, I have a humongous roll of it, and I bought it after I came back from my February 2024 cruise, because we used a lot of it in those cruise layouts that we did on the ship, and I thought maybe I needed some more, and I have forgotten how much I adore playing with this type of paper. So what I've done is I have roughly torn 2 strips of it. The roll is not quite 12 inches wide. It is off maybe a 1/16 of an inch or so, not enough to be a huge deal. So I'm taking my walnut distress ink, walnut stain distress ink, and I have inked up, added some of the darker color on it. Now I'm going to take this texture paste. This is a Vicki Boutin texture paste. I believe it's from her Print Shop collection, and I'm just going to smear it roughly on these pieces of corrugated paper, so that I have some fun color on it that matches this collection pretty well. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Uncharted Mariner Distress Oxide Spray, and I'm going to do a whole bunch of splatters. And yes, I have a kitten sitting there off to the left-hand side. He is really nosy and likes to just kind of come hang out there in that spot. And as long as he's not sticking his nose in my texture paste, I'm okay with him sitting there. So everybody say hello to Phineas. Fun facts, Jasper also makes an appearance in this video. You'll know the difference between the two of them because Jasper has white paws. Now I'm using my white linen from Delusions ink spray to add some white splatters, and I think I'm going to grab a third spray. I believe what I'm grabbing is a Lindy's spray. But first I want to get some of these splatters on my background. I really love the look of splatters, as you probably know, and look, Phineas is really watching what I'm doing, which I think is hilarious. He might be trying to decide whether or not I'm going to get him with that ink because it's pretty messy. So here's the Lindy spray. This is a new addition to my stash. I have never used it. All I did was add the water to mix it up so that it was ready to be used. And I'm going to add some of it on the corrugated strips as well. And then I'm going to grab out that Uncharted Mariner again, and I'm going to add it to the background. And this just kind of gives quite a bit of lovely mixed media on my background. And then, of course, I added more mixed media to the corrugated paper. I'm really, really happy with how my mixed media turned out, especially after a really bad first start. So Phineas was starting to get to where he was being a little too nosy. So we had to stop the camera and distract him with something else. So I took that 8x8 sheet of patterned paper, and the back side of it is green, so I matted my photo. And yes, I'm only using one photo. It is a panoramic photo that I took when my husband and I were on a weekend away for our wedding anniversary in 2023. It is a view of the mountainside outside of our Airbnb that we stayed in Pigeon Forge. And so I'm inking up the edges of this mat with that walnut stain. I'm going to go ahead and glue down these strips of corrugated paper. This is where I kind of make it a little more even looking. I will butt this piece up right against my stenciling, but on the other side, I'm going to pull it over just a little bit so it doesn't butt up against my stenciling, but kind of gives you the illusion that we are actually even. Now, this is a mistake I made. I started to glue this down without putting my larger floral photo mat down, and I pull it up right here on camera here in a minute. It is not that big of a deal. The glue that I'm using doesn't dry that quickly. The other thing that I do off camera is I add some foam adhesive underneath this bit larger mat because it sagged in the middle once I placed it down between the 2 layers of corrugated paper, and I don't care for that look. I wanted it to be a little bit more level than it ended up being. So I am distressing the edges of this pattern paper, and then I'll go ahead and add that walnut stain ink as well. So there, I'm going to add that. I pulled my photo up before it glued down. I was just fast enough that it had barely begun to get tacky, so there was no damage to my background or to the photo itself. I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting some of this ink on here. I really love to ink, and I always forget that step, so it's nice to remember to do this, and I can thank MK for that, because a lot of our cruise ship layouts had inking on it. And it's nice to just stop and play and not always try to be in a hurry and add some of these finer details like distressing and inking. And it is just nice to play once in a while. So I took that round frame and I cut it in half, and I put the one half up above the photo on the top left, and the other piece is going to go top or bottom right, kind of just a little bit. And it's going to end up holding my title, which says More Wonder. And I love that title. And what I ended up doing off camera is I went through the ephemera pack and I decided on the pieces that I thought I would use for this layout. I did not end up pulling out any of the laser die cuts. I just set those aside, and I didn't use the rub-ons either. I just set those aside. There's plenty of time to use all of the fun stuff from this collection. I just kind of chose to stick with what's in the ephemera pack, and I've got quite a bit sitting here. I don't use everything that you see. 2 of the labels, and then there is a tab that ends up getting put away, and a phrase. And that is pretty much what I like. So here is another mistake I make right here on camera. Like I said, I had never played with this type of tape before. It is super sticky, and I was trying to shove it up underneath and I get it crooked. And so at this point I'm going to shut the camera off, and I will fix that. And I'm also going to add another piece on the top, which you can see now poking up. All right, I got this layout completely finished. Off camera I did fix this because I stuck it down and it stuck a lot faster and harder than I expected it to. So I used some undo to remove it and get it on there straight. I added a second one up here while I was doing that. The other thing I did off camera was add some of these enamel dots from the collection. I've got 6 on there, 1 of each color from the sheet. I also added quite a bit of foam adhesive here, and the butterflies, titles, and phrases that I have put on the layout. I am quite pleased with the way that this turned out. I do want to mention that there will be a second page to this, probably later in the month, or maybe even into next month. I will finish the second page in this. This is just the focal photo, even though it is not a large photo. It is a panoramic photo that I took, and I just printed it on a 4x6 sheet of paper, or photo paper, so that is why it is so narrow. But it really took the place of this area on the sketch, and otherwise I kind of tried to stay true to the sketch after I flipped it. I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. Please make sure that you check out that description box below for the Mix It Up Monday playlist that I will have down there. There is also a list of my Instagram ladies. Please take the time to head over to their Instagram accounts and check out their beautiful, amazing work. They are listed first down there below the description box, and then right underneath that there will be a link to the playlist. Plus, I believe I have individual links to everybody who participates this month. There is also a playlist for 30 days of sketches, since this is day 10 30 days of sketch that we are using to complete this hop. So make sure that you check out some of that work as well. You will be inspired by all of the wonderful work that you see with these sketches. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your Monday and a good week. Bye.